What's going on, folks? It is playoff time. Playoffs? Hey, listen, man. It's been a long season, and the Eagles are locked into the 3 seed. Could have had the 2 seed, but we're not going to make any us crying over spilt milk, although we are going to address that. Got a good show for you guys today. My good friend Dwight Hicks, 2-time Super Bowl winner with the San Francisco 49ers, are going to join me the second half of the show to talk about Sunday afternoon's matchup. But let's talk about last week. And I know how some of the fans feel. You know, I've been getting a little bit of pushback, a little heat on social media. But I was saying last week that the starters need to play. The starters need to play because all year it's been an up and down roller coaster ride, especially with the offensive side of the ball. And a lot of the pushback that I got was, well, you know, if somebody got hurt, like A.J. Brown got hurt a couple of years ago, they would crucify, Nick Sirianni. I'm trying to figure out what world it is that we live in now, where we're protecting players in the football realm. There's a side of me that gets it, but there's the other side of me that finds it utterly ridiculous, because as a player, like, I played 13 years. And it seemed like, boom, it went by like that. So when I look at these guys playing now, between the injuries and things like that forces them to miss a game, or concussion protocol, and, they come out, in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, type of situation, they're in the tent, they got to sit out 2 weeks. Like, if I'm healthy, football is what I do. That's what I want to do. I want to play football. And in 13 years, I never took the field thinking about whether or not I could get injured. You play the game, and the chips always fall where they may. In my opinion, you cannot protect players from getting injured. It's just impossible. But this is the world that we now live in. Players get paid an exorbitant amount of money to do less than they ever have. They don't practice hard. They don't do two-a-days. They do more walkthroughs than they actually do practices throughout the year. And then they don't play in the preseason if you're a starter. The only guys that play in the preseason are the guys that are either camp bodies or guys that are, trying to make the team. But if you're on the team, you don't play until week 1. And the new mindset is, first 4 games of the season, that's our preseason. Those first 4 games of the season, for a lot of teams, make the difference between them making the playoffs, like the 14 teams that are in, and the rest of those teams that's, going to Cancun, going fishing, or whatever it is that they're doing after Sunday's game, this past Sunday's game. So I was a player that always wanted to play because I love the game of football and I love to play. And realizing that I only had 16 weeks to play, I wasn't trying to share any of my reps, any of my time, any of my games with nobody. And the only reason you wouldn't see me on the field is I was too injured. There's a difference between being hurt and being injured. When you're hurt, that means that you feel some pain somewhere. You feel some discomfort somewhere. But my mental focus and my mental strength is going to take me to the game and through the game. If you're injured, that means that you can't perform at the level that you would normally be able to perform. Like you can't run. You can't sprint. You can't raise your arm because you got a shoulder injury. That's injured. That means, okay, you go sit down and let somebody else come in and get the job done if they're able to get it done. But my mentality was always, there's a reason why my backup's a backup. I'm the starter because I'm the best player at my position on my team. Probably in the whole NFL. That's what your mindset better be that way. And I'm not giving any of my reps to anybody. Not because I'm afraid that somebody may take my job. Hell no. Never worried about that. My worry is that fool may get one of my interceptions or one of my sacks or some of my tackles. So I'm just not with this whole, and I know it'll never change, and my mentality ain't going to ever change either. But I think the Eagles made a massive mistake. And this is why. Because everybody's like, oh, they're going to have to play those teams anyway. They're going to have to play San Francisco anyway. They're going to have to play. No, you don't. No, you don't. The Eagles, in my opinion, should always play a game to win. And in my opinion, they didn't do that last week when they made the decision, when Nick Sirianni made the decision to put the backups out on the field for rest, is what he said. I know the injury protection thing is in there, but he said rest. He said the only thing that I can guarantee is I can rest my guys. I can't guarantee that Chicago's going to lose their game, but I can guarantee that my guys are rested. Well, that blew up in his face because the Lions go into Chicago and beat the Bears, and if we win that game, and this is why it's so important, or why it was so important. If the Eagles win that game on Sunday, they move into the 2 seed, which means that they play Green Bay. I don't care who they play. That wasn't the onus of why I wanted them to play. I wanted them to play because the offenses look inconsistent all year. They need as many plays as they can get to get their act together going into the playoffs and going in with some momentum after 17 yards in the last half of football that they played as a unit together. 0 out of 5 on first downs. 5 punts in a row. And Nick Sirianni has the audacity to give his offense a whole game off after that kind of performance? Okay, so they get Green Bay. And if they get past Green Bay, guess what? Their next opponent has got to come to the Link. So they get 2 home games. And if by chance someone knocks off the number 1 seeded Seattle Seahawks, which is likely, you may wind up with the NFC Championship right back here at the Link again. But that's gone out the window because it was more important to rest your players than it was to secure the number 2 seed. And he could have just said, okay, you guys are going to play the first quarter or the second quarter, build up a lead, and then we'll let the backups take us home. And this is the most perplexing thing to me. If rest and injury protection was so important, you mean to tell me that the 1,000 yards, and I was proud of Devontae Smith, and I was one of the first people to congratulate him on social media. You mean to tell me that mixed message that you sent, that it was important for Devontae Smith to get 1,000 yards, but it wasn't important enough for everybody else to play to ensure that we won that game and went to 12-5 instead of 12-6, 11-6, with the potential that if Chicago slipped up, that we would get the 2 seed. And then, oh yeah, let's go back to last year this time when he made the decision to sit the entire offense again. And I know that's the onus and that's the premises for why he did it, okay? But you told Saquon Barkley with 101 yards left to take down one of the most preeminent records in all of pro football that it was more important to rest and protect yourself. But you put Devontae Smith out there to get 50 yards, to get 1,000 yards on the season. Like that's a huge deal anymore. I mean, it is. But in reality, when you think about it, with 17 games, damn, all you need to average is somewhere around 60 to 65 yards a game, and you'll get 1,000 yards in 17 weeks. But my bigger point is that was a mixed message to me. Because that last ball that he caught to take him over 1,000 yards, I didn't like the way that looked. And I get it. They were trying to throw balls outside the numbers to try to keep him safe. But the ball that he got thrown, he almost got broke up. And now what would everybody have said if you sat the whole team, the whole starting offense, with the exception of Devontae Smith to get him 1,000 yards and he got hurt? I don't like the mixed messages and what that looks like. Next thing, let's talk about Tanner McKee and all the people that were running around a couple of weeks ago. Oh, we got to put Tanner McKee in the game. He's a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. He gives us a better chance to win. I want y'all to climb back under that rock and never speak that nonsense ever again. Ever again. Because I think Tanner McKee, and I'm not saying he's not a good player, but the experience isn't there. He doesn't have mobility. And people say, oh yeah, you know, he played behind the third team offensive line. But guess what? The Commanders' defense sucks. They give up 145 yards a game rushing. And they give up 243 yards per game passing, ranking 30th and 27th respectively. Yeah, Tanner McKee had a good first half. 148 yards. But someone pray and tell me, if the Eagles were really trying to win that game, and I'm going to get off Tanner McKee, and I'm going to get on Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni for a minute. If the Eagles were really trying to win that game, what the hell was Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo thinking about in the red zone twice? So you got 3rd and 2, and you got 4th and 2, and Tank Bigsby has been running like a man possessed, averaging in the first half alone 6 yards per carry. And you're in the red zone and you choose to throw the ball 2 times in a row. You don't even give Tank a chance to even get the first down for 2 yards and keep the drive alive. See, this is where they lost this game. These 2 drives, the last 2 drives of the first half, okay? Because I'm telling you, Washington would have laid down like a tired dog, like the tired dogs that they are, if the Eagles would have scored right there. But it's the perplexing play calling that persists between Patullo and Sirianni that just like blows my mind. Tank Bigsby is running at an unstoppable pace. And you don't give him the ball once on a 3rd down and 2 or a 4th down and 2. You actually go empty. And your quarterback, who can't run, actually runs like a baby giraffe, is scrambling out of the pocket right with no one to throw to. and you turn the ball over and down. Oh, then the next series, Jalix Hunt, a tremendous interception on the sideline. Then you come back, Tanner hits Darius Cooper, 17-yard reception down to like the 6-yard line. Just dumb youth football. He decides he wants to spin the ball between the legs of the defender he just beat, 15-yard taunting call. So now is the time for Kevin Patullo to really be in Tanner McKee's ear. Because we're in scoring position again. And you call a seam route against cover 2, and Tanner tries to squeeze it in there, interception. So 2 trips to the red zone, we walk away with 0, and then we lose the game by 7 points. It's coaching malpractice, in my opinion. And the crazy part is they've been doing this nonsense all year long. If a team is terrible against the run and good against the pass, guess what we do? We come out throwing the damn ball. We don't attack teams' weaknesses. We try to outsmart them and say, okay, well, they're probably expecting for us to run the ball because they can't stop the run, so we're going to come out throwing the ball. They did it against the Bills. First series of the game. It's raining cats and dogs. The Bills' rush defense is 21st. They give up 123 yards a game. We come out and run 3 passes in a row, go 3 and out and punt. Yeah, I'm going to give them the business because they deserve it. And I know some of you guys probably watched me during the post-game show and thought that I may be a little bit over the top. Let me tell you something about me. The same intensity, the same energy, the same veracity that I played the game with is the same that I analyzed the game with. It ain't going to ever change. That's in here. That's in my heart, okay? And when it comes to the Eagles, I'm even more because I bleed green. So I'm not going off for clicks. Any of y'all that know me know that I don't get down like that. I don't give a damn. The only thing I care about is what's true. So when you see me going off on Patullo or Sirianni or whoever, it's just passion. It's just passion. And the problem is I knew that they were going to do this. I knew that they were going to sit them down. And somewhere deep down inside, my being, I knew that the Lions would raise up and beat the Bears. And we piss away the 2nd seed. And an opportunity to at least have two home games at the minimum at home. But like I said before, that's water under the bridge. Let's get over on the defensive side because I can't let number 23 and number 7 get away. Man, you talk about some horrible, horrible football at cornerback last week. Good Lord. Keely Ringo looks like he can just get it done on special teams, and all of a sudden you put him in the game at cornerback, and he looks like he just completely forgets how to play football. I don't know what it is, because when you look at him, he's got all the physical attributes. Can run, size, but he don't have no confidence at all. If I could coach him, every day I would tell him how great he is until he believed it, along with giving him the skill sets to get better. Like there's an art to playing that position. It wasn't my natural position, but because of how I was coached early in my career, I know how to coach that position. Because Buddy would make us go down and go one-on-one with the wide receivers every day in practice. because that helped me be able to cover tight ends. If I could cover Mike Quick and Fred Barnett and players like that, guess what? It'd be real easy for me to cover a back out of the backfield, a tight end, easy. So while I'm down there, I'm listening to how the cornerbacks are being coached, and I'm watching how they're being coached, and I'm being told how to implement those skill sets and how I cover tight ends and running backs man-to-man. And the few times that I was asked in my career to actually cover a wide receiver man-to-man. Oh, yeah, I did that too. Oh, yeah, I played safety too. So that part of the game, that's why I understand it. But to have Keely Ringo here as long as he's been here and not see the improvement leaves me scratching my head. Either he's not getting the coaching or he's not listening to the coaching and applying it. And he doesn't have the confidence in what he's doing. Because when I see a guy covering man-to-man and the ball's in the air and he just throws his hands up and face guards him, that tells me that player's scared. Because he hasn't learned how to get in phase. He doesn't realize that you're not necessarily beat when you're as fast as you are, because guess what? The ball's in the air. The ball's got to get there. Don't panic. Get back in phase and read his eyes. Ja'Cory Bennett ain't no better. How in the world are you just going to tackle a guy before the ball even get there? And I was a little bit leery when we made the trade for him back in the summertime. I'm like, why would the Raiders trade a player who runs a 4.3 40 and built like him? Well, now we know why. And let me add something else to it, because I know he has some injuries, but when he got here, the normal protocol, give him a week or two to kind of learn the defense and learn the language and see how they want him to play. But as the season went on, the only logical conclusion that I could come up with for the reason why he wasn't playing in those spots where Adoree Jackson was playing terrible, I'm like, he can't learn the damn defense. That's why Vic Fangio won't put him on the field. And now to watch the way he played last week, good gosh. I think the Eagles signed a corner today to the practice squad. They need some help. Because if somebody gets injured, at the end of the day, you can't put either one of those guys on the field. You can't do it, man. It's crazy. It is absolute craziness what we saw. Pleased with what I saw out of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. 12 tackles, led the team in tackles. Jalix Hunt continues to impress. It is phenomenal what he's doing and his skill set to be so versatile that Vic can drop him into coverage. He can drop him, in zone. And that interception was a thing of beauty. You can see, I think it's been said that he's played some safety, back in his day. But I think that, you could see the athleticism. But the ability to be as versatile as he is just phenomenal. Ty Robinson still got some work to do. And you need to get in shape. Because on that goal line play, the way he was walking to the ball, I'm like, bro, how are you going to be walking to the ball the first time you get a chance to play? Who else? Who else stood out? I forget the kid's name. Number 49, before he got hurt, he looked good. There wasn't a whole lot that we could look at and say that was really good throughout that game. And like I said, the most disappointing thing was the fact that Nick wouldn't just play his starters just long enough to ensure the victory. So we got the 2 seed instead of, having to get the 3 seed. Because in all likelihood, we're going to get one home game, then we're going to have to go on the road. And the only way that it would work out that we could potentially get, the NFC Championship here if we can make it that far, which in a lot of ways is a stretch given how the offense is played, is that Seattle and Chicago have got to lose, next week in order for that to happen. Anyhow, I'm going to take a quick break. You guys continue. I thank you for your continued viewership. Make sure you're liking, following, and sharing and subscribing at the Seth Joyner Show YouTube channel. We are here with you guys every single game day. Our pregame show starts, myself, Derek Gunn, and Mark Farzetta. We're on an hour before kickoff. We add Bailey Livesey to the equation in the post-game show. As soon as the game goes 0-0-0, we're on for 90 minutes. And then, obviously, we got the Seth Joyner TV show, which airs on Wednesdays on PHL and on NBC Sports Philly on Thursday nights. And if you miss those, they're always on the YouTube channel. And then this show here every Tuesday night, I'm with you guys to break down, what happened with the Eagles and looking forward to the upcoming game on the Seth Joyner podcast. All right, so I'm going to take a quick break. I see my man is in the back office, Dwight Hicks, former 49er, two-time Super Bowl champion. It's my guy, man. We love to chop it up and talk ball and play golf and just talk life, but we're going to talk about, this matchup between your Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers at 4:30 at the Link. After this break, I'll come back and I'll cue him in, and we'll chop up the last 30 minutes.
Okay, Richardson, give me the tree. The holidays are done.
No way they're done.
They are.
We thought so too, Gary. But then Verizon just gave us their best deal.
4 new iPhone 17s, all on them.
Yep, and 4 lines all for just $25.
You got anything under there for me?
It's a holiday miracle.
Our best deals are still here. Come into Verizon and get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed. And 4 lines for just $25 a line.
Love that spirit, folks.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging, our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team. Excuse me. Welcome back to the Seth Joyner podcast. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to bring my guy in. Dwight Hicks, former 49er cornerback / safety. Got 2 Super Bowl rings under his belt. Played back in the elite dynastic era of 49er football. My brother, how you doing, man?
I'm fine, Seth. How are you, brother? Good to see you,
man. I'm good.
Looking good, boy.
I try, man. When you hit 60, you got to work, man.
Hey, wait till you get 7-0. I'll be 7-0 if I'm lucky to get to April, man.
Oh, it's done, man. It's done. Hey, listen, man. The game has changed a lot since we played. I'm sure when you sit back and you watch football, at times, makes you want to pull your hair out as well.
Yes.
You got a little more than I do. I do have hair. People think that I'm going bald. I just choose to be bald, man, because it's easy. I shave it twice a week and I'm good, man.
No, put it this way: when you get our age, what you want is what you get. And what anybody else thinks, it doesn't matter.
True. So let's jump into, the 49ers. Listen, this team has really flown under the radar much of the year. They've endured a lot of injuries on both sides of the ball, and they're coming into this game kind of beat up. But they flew under the radar. Like everybody was talking about out in the West, they were talking about Seattle, and they were talking about the Rams. And quietly, the 49ers just kept winning games, and boom, they turn around and go into last week's game with an opportunity to not only wrap up the division, but the number one seed. And after just blowing teams out the previous 2 weeks, they looked like a shell of themselves against Seattle. My goodness, it was. And I know that Trent Williams was out. He got injured. That's a big deal when you lose a player like that. But even Christian McCaffrey, man, they held him in check. And to me, he is the linchpin. He's the key to that entire offense. What's the feeling like, out in the Bay Area right now?
Well, I'm not sure, but they have been marred with injuries most of the season. Guys, essential guys that really help that team win. They've been hurt, and but they, like you said, they've flown under. Wouldn't say under the radar. The guys came in and they filled in and done a decent job, and that's what a good team should do. And that. It's like there's nobody that's really second team in this league. You're getting paid too, and when one man goes down, hey, next man up. And they should expect them to perform as we did. But we'll see. Purdy's banged up with his thumb. I think they showed a couple of times where his thumb was bloody. Don't know how effective he's going to be, how much that's going to hurt him. But what really was disappointing for me watching the game against Seattle was they got out hit, man. I mean, Seattle was swarming to the ball like a defense should. You know that. I know that. But was it the game plan? I mean, that Seattle's going to, come and bring it. So why would you have your quarterback set and look for receivers down the field when you should have him getting rid of the ball quick? And so their inability to run the ball, because they keyed on McCaffrey and they held him in check. And as you said, Trent is banged up, but one guy doesn't make an offensive line. That too. So guys just have to step in and do the job that they're getting paid to do.
The interesting part, because I want to come back to Christian McCaffrey and Brock Purdy in a second, because I've got a theory about this offense and how it operates and what makes it successful and what you have to do to make it look average like it looked last week. But I want to talk about, Kyle Shanahan for a minute, because I wonder sometimes how beloved he is in San Francisco. Dwight, he's had a history in big games of making some very, very questionable decisions that have cost the team and the organization in a major way.
Super Bowl.
I go all the way back to the Super Bowl against Kansas City. Okay, throughout the divisional round and the NFC Championship, he knew that Jimmy Garoppolo was a problem. They were averaging 200 yards per game rushing the football. They get into the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the worst run defenses in the history of the National Football League, and he got Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the ball all over the map instead of sticking with the same game plan. And you give Kansas City their first Super Bowl victory. Okay? Then you got the New England Patriots and Tom Brady on the ropes.
Yes.
Okay?
That's when he was in New England. That's
yeah,
when he was in Atlanta.
in Atlanta as the offensive coordinator. Okay? Now all you got to do, you're already in, okay, field goal range.
Yes.
And if you kick this field goal, this game is insurmountable.
Yes.
For the Patriots to come back. Yeah. You throw the ball incomplete. And then Matt Ryan gets sacked and pushed out of field goal range.
And a holding call during there too.
And all of a sudden, Tom Brady comes up with the comeback for the ages.
Yes.
Okay. I just think, and there's another one in there with San Francisco. I just can't recall it right now. But those kind of things stick out to me.
Yes.
You know, and I wonder, as far as the fan base, I know they love him. Yeah, he is an offensive genius.
Yeah.
But he seems to his heart rate seems to skip a beat sometimes at the most important moments.
Well, I always say you don't measure a player, you don't measure a coach when things are going well. It's how do you respond when the house is burning? How do you keep your composure to call the right plays and put your team in a position to win? And as you said, I remember when he was hired by the 49ers after losing the Super Bowl to New England, people were asking me, wow, man, what do you think of Shanahan? It's a good pick. And I said, I hope he's learned about clock management. Because as you said, they had the ball in there around the 20-yard line. You can call 3 BS plays in the line, kick the field goal, game over. Because now the Patriots would have to get 3 scores to win and not 2. So I think he gave them the Super Bowl by his inability to keep his composure, keep the game plan, run the ball, and kick a field goal, game over. And I think he lost sight of that. And I don't know what it is with him. Clock management. I think he's has a pretty good offensive mind, but how you respond and understanding what's happening in the game. I think he gets lost in the game and he doesn't see what's actually going on in the field. And that's something I think that he needs to assess. But as long as the 49ers win, I guess 10, 11 games, 12 now in this era, they're going to be happy with him. I know that DeBartolo, we'd win and we wouldn't win big. And he'd come in the locker room and say, that was horseshit. What are you doing out there? And I remember Seth, he said, we lost a close game to Houston, Warren Moon. We played him in Houston. He's a good quarterback, had good receivers, good offensive line. They torched us, man, because he was getting the time. And the thing about that is, what's the expectation? And even though we won the game, DeBartolo came in, interrupted Walsh, and said, I don't know what you guys thought you were doing out there, but it wasn't football. To get ass, you got to bring ass. I think he said something like that. And, we were glad that we, got out of there with a win, but he expected more. And I think maybe Shanahan should expect more of his team. I think the management should expect more of Shanahan. And it starts from the top and trickles down, man. So it's all about understanding what you need to do to win and people being on the same page, calling the right plays, people being in position to make plays, and then make them. Mm-hmm. You know that. I mean, you see guys wide open and drop the ball in crucial times. Yeah. You saw a field goal kicker. Lamar Jackson put his guys in position to win the game. Hey, I pay you to kick the ball. Kick the ball through the hoop. Kick the ball through the goals because that's what we pay you for.
Yep.
And as you know, I always thought, I hope the play comes to me. You're ready for it. And some of these guys, they shy away, they get scared. No, you're a pro, man. You're supposed to condition yourself to want to be in those situations to be successful. And some of these guys, they don't want to be in that position, and you could see it.
Well, listen, there is, before I get to Purdy and McCaffrey, it seems to me that the common sense nature of coaches back in our eras are far and few between today. Like I was just talking about it, before this segment. Like an offensive staff will look at a team, and that team is like ranked 27th against the run, but they rank like 7th against the pass. And they'll go into the game, and instead of attacking the weakness, in their minds, they're like, oh, well, they expect for us to attack the weakness, so we're going to come out and throw the ball. I'm like, what the hell goes on in y'all's mind, man?
Yeah.
Like, back in the day, if we couldn't stop the run, we knew we was probably going to get about 50 running plays.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's the exact opposite. They try to trick the other team into believing that we're not going to attack your weakness. I know that's what y'all expecting us to do, so we're going to come out throwing it. And the quarterback go for like 2 for 12 before they decide, okay, we better run the damn ball.
Yeah. I don't understand that logic either. Football, to me and you, we know it's a very simple game. I think some coaches try to complicate the situation. It's about blocking, it's about tackling, and it's about execution and intimidating your opponent. Hit them and hit them often, and take care of the football. I don't know what these coaches are thinking. I just don't know. I can't figure it out, Seth, because like you said, if you can run the ball on the team, you saw Seahawks, they ran the ball on the 49ers. I mean, and they ran it, and they ran it, and they ran it. And it kept the 49er offense on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to do to an offense that is as powerful as the 49ers with the guys that they have. They can score, and they can score quick. However, if you're on the bench and the time is running down, there's only so many things you can do, And I think that's what Seattle did to them. And any good coach worth his salt and good defensive coordinator, that's what they're going to do. You stop McCaffrey, you don't allow them to get first downs, you're going to be on the bench. And then what did Seattle do? They drove the ball methodically down the field with their running game. And
well,
if the Eagles do that with Barkley, then Eagles have a much better running game than Seattle. San Francisco's going to be in for a long night.
I tell you, Dwight, because what you said makes a lot of sense. But we also live in this era, you hear people talk about, explosive plays. Explosive plays. Even Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles, he talks about explosive plays, and he talks about how hard it is to go on 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 play drives. But to your point, if you're running the ball successfully, you can do that because you always stand ahead of the sticks. Now, this is my theory about the San Francisco offense. I've been watching them ever since Brock Purdy came to Philadelphia and lost the NFC Championship to the Philadelphia Eagles and got his elbow hurt. There are times when you watch him throw the ball, Dwight, and you're looking like, who the hell is he throwing it to? Because the wide receiver ain't even in the picture, okay?
Mhm.
And what I realize is they've got routes that are designed for certain coverages, okay?
Mhm.
But the truth of the matter is the only way that they can get the play action pass and have the passing game work that way is through Christian McCaffrey. When he's running the ball effectively,
Yes.
okay, they go play pass, bootleg, misdirection,
Yes.
and Brock Purdy is like 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, and when that back foot hit the ground, he's throwing to an area. And
Yep.
you stand there looking like there ain't nobody over there where he's throwing. So the times where he has interceptions in the game, a lot of the time, the timing on the routes are off. The other thing people don't do anymore is they don't jam wide receivers. To throw the to throw the timing
Yes. Yes.
of those routes off.
Correct.
But the few times where it does happen, he's had some high interception games because he's throwing to a spot.
Yes.
So the method to beat the 49ers is to control, because you ain't going to stop him. He's just too elite of an athlete.
Yeah.
Control Christian McCaffrey and take away the play action passing.
That's right.
And now you put Brock Purdy in a different position because he don't want to be a progression quarterback.
Right.
He wants to throw at a spot.
Yes.
He wants to break down the defense because when he comes out, he evaluates, okay, they're in this coverage. This is where I need to throw the ball. Check, check, check. Play action pass because they've been running it. He's throwing to a spot. And we
That's
all
right.
sitting there looking like, who the hell he throwing to?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And it blows my mind that people who really know football don't even recognize that.
No. They
Because
don't.
if you did, just put a hand on the wide receiver. Because if he's at 10 when he's supposed to be at 12, the timing is done. It's over.
Correct.
It's a wrap.
Correct. I don't think people, and I don't think some of these coaches understand, Seth, that offense is all about timing, running plays and passing plays. And if it's like, for instance, I remember Walsh telling Russ Francis, look, we're going to run this play. If it's zone, you're going to sit down. And if it's man, you're just going to keep running. And he would tell Joe, he said, Joe, this pass, I want a 4 or 5 step drop, and I want you to hit this person, wide receiver, 2 yards inside the hash. If you hold it any longer, the play fake that held the linebacker on the backside will be able to recover and make a play on the ball. So that told me, when he did that, because we were running practice, ran the play, looked good, and Walt said, can we line back up? And that's when he gave that instruction to Russ and Joe. And I'm like, damn, okay. So I'm thinking, okay, if we could hold up these receivers, just for a second and a half, 2 seconds, it's going to mess up the play. Because now he's not going to be able to wait for that guy. He's got to look for something else. Mm-hmm. And by that time, the rush is coming.
Yep.
The pass rush is coming. That's how we play defense. I don't know what these guys are playing now. I don't know. I see guys where it's a zone. They should sit down and they keep running. Or they should keep running and they sit down. It's like, I don't know what they're teaching these kids. I don't know who's coaching them when they're coming out of college or before college, because I know you and I, by the time we got to the college level, we knew the fundamentals of football. And then it was just a matter of honing those skills as you progress.
Right.
I think these guys are great athletes. I don't think they're fundamentally sound. I really don't think they have a good gauge on the nuance of football or these coaches. So
well, it's always it always starts with the coaches.
Yes.
Yes. I have a saying, the development of every player, just about every player, because some players, like we got a wide receiver here in Philly, Devontae Smith, like he was solid before he got here. He didn't need no coach. The dude could run routes.
Yes.
He understood coverages, you know, catch the ball with his hands, catch it with his body when he have to. You know, like he was like skilled. And the Eagles historically have not drafted and developed wide receivers. You go back over the last 10 years, you can see that most of the receivers that we had that's been worth anything, we made a trade for them. A.J. Brown, Terrell Owens.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got a saying that a player's ability to progress is limited by the coaching that he gets.
Yes.
If he's got great coaching and that coach is putting tools in his toolbox every single year, now he's got the tools to go out and do what he needs to do. Yeah. But the players who don't have that great coaching, man, you know, you had it. I had it, you know, under Buddy and the various coaches that he had. Wade Phillips was my linebacker coach for 2 years, and then Jeff Fisher. And I mean, I can go on and on and on about the guys that I played with. But they were fundamentalists when it came to the game.
Yes.
And you were going to do things a certain way that puts you in position to now allow your natural ability to shine through.
That's correct.
So when you talk about, you know, these inefficiencies of football today, and then the other thing, Dwight, is that I think that defensive coordinators are afraid to get up and jam and bump because you can only bump now one time in a 5-yard area.
Well, that's what it was when we played, Seth.
Man, shoot. Buddy used to tell me, hey, you don't want to cover that tight end. You don't want to cover that wide receiver. Beat his ass up at the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
But, I mean, you only got one jam.
Yeah.
You know? And now, so rather than missing, they just play off. And what they don't realize about playing off is when you play off and you're giving everybody free access, these timing routes are hitting on time.
On time. The timing of it. That's what I was talking about.
And the quarterback is sitting back there. He's like, okay, which one I want to throw to? Because they're all open.
Exactly. And I think these guys are great athletes, Seth. I talked to a guy that played behind me that coached Cal after he finished playing, Tom Homo, who's now he's getting ready to retire from the BYU. He was an athletic director. But when he was at Cal, I guess it must have been 5-6 years after I retired, I called him up. And I said, hey, man, is it me or these guys don't seem to be fundamentally sound? He said, no, Dwight, it's not you. They aren't. He said, I don't have time to teach them the fundamentals. I'm trying to teach them the plays. So now you have these great athletes coming out of college, still aren't fundamentally sound, and now they're going to the pros. And if you don't have a good coach in pros, or if you're not fundamentally sound by the time you get there, you just get what you get. You know, and it's sad to see. How many times have you seen somebody who has contained coming up the field, whether it's a defensive lineman or outside linebacker, and they lose containment? How many times have you seen that? You see it every week. It's like, dude, if you got contained, you got to contain. Because all your brothers that are going to help make the play is inside.
I'm glad you said it because I've been saying it for the last 5 years, and I think everybody on my Twitter feed and my social media feed, they sick and tired of hearing me saying it. But it's an integral part of the defense because everybody's got a job to do. Okay? The other thing is you see these guys, they line up with the wrong foot up, wrong hand back on the edge. I'm like, how you going to contain from that position? Because if they come with motion and running jet sweeps, I mean, you couldn't run jet sweeps in my days.
No.
I would have clotheslined a fool running a jet sweep. But they standing on the end of the line looking at the guy coming in motion.
Yeah.
And the guy gets the ball from the quarterback and run right by him.
Yeah. You have to be aware of that. You have to be aware of your
But that's coaching, man. That's coaching. Why do you allow your players to have a wrong stance because that's what feels comfortable to them? Instead of forcing them to learn how to do it right, fundamentally the right way. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. So I got 5 minutes, and I want to talk about the defense, and I want to talk about one Robert Saleh because he has been a godsend for this defense.
Yes.
Because when you lose Bosa and Warner off this defense, and for them to have the record that they have, and for them to be playing the way that they've played, and with the energy that they played with, that speaks to the coach. Because they fired 2 defensive coordinators within the last 2 years. And having him come back and put his hands on that defense again, when he gets his guys back full strength, they're going to be good again.
They're going to be tough. Yeah, they're going to be tough. I've always liked him as a defensive coordinator. I hate to see him leave and go to the Jets, but, as it's about taking care of your family. You get opportunity to be a head coach, which most coaches would want to be a head coach. Some aren't meant to be and are, but some are meant to be and don't get the chance.
Right.
However, Saleh, I always liked him. I liked his enthusiasm because when you're enthused about what's going on, it's catchy. The players got to be enthused. And I think he puts them in the right positions to be successful. But then again, the injuries that he's having, and I don't think their defensive backs play with any intensity, man. And when the ball gets in the secondary or past the linebackers, you got to have people coming up and say, shit, man, they have to have some fear in their heart when they get past the linebackers, because people should be coming up and blasting their ass. And it's not happened. I saw last week 4 guys around a Seattle Seahawk receiver, and they were kind of almost dancing. He took 3-4 steps, and nobody had touched him yet. And they were all there. And see, you can't teach that aggressiveness. To play defense, Seth, you gotta want to be the guy to make the play. You gotta dare. I dare you to come in my area, because you're gonna think about it the next time. These guys, and the fact that they don't jam. I think that's from the 7-on-7 camps too that they're having. Starting in high school and Pop Warner, they go all around the country. They play these 7-on-7 camps, and they don't have any pads. They don't jam. So I guess that's where that's coming from. Did you ever think about that?
No, I never thought about it in that sense, but I feel like what I do know about the new CBA and how the guys practice, and the fact that coaches can't interact with players at certain times of the season, certain times of the off season, I should say.
Yeah.
What winds up happening is, if you want to be great, then you got to go find somebody to help you be great in the off season. Okay. If it's not important enough to you, then you're not going to do that.
Correct.
Because they got DBU and pass rush U and quarterback gurus and everything. There's no reason for a guy to be average in today's game.
Correct.
Because you get your ass up in the morning, you go and you get your workout in, and then you go see your specialist.
Yes.
And you work on your craft.
Yes.
Because to your guy's point, at Cal, there's just not enough time anymore.
Yes.
And it's not just the time. I don't believe that enough coaches in the National Football League today understand how to make players better. They don't know how to coach them. Only thing they can give you is X's and O's.
Yes.
They can't give you the toolbox.
Yes. You know what that comes from too, and it's in all of our society, the nepotism. People that it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you know somebody, even though you're average at best, coach or engineer or whatever, you get the job. And there's a lot of people out there that know what professionalism and knowing and owning your craft to get better, and they do, and they make people better. And as you said, maybe these some of these players that are making a lot of money should invest in, I got to get better at something. I got to find somebody to give me, teach me the nuances about playing corner, the nuances about playing safety, the nuances of footwork and setting up as a quarterback. Because I know, Walsh was a very successful coach. And one thing he talked about, a 5-step drop is a 5-step drop. A 3-step drop is a 3-step drop. And if you're not doing that correctly, if you can't have a quarterback doing the right footwork, how are you going to deliver the ball in the timing in which it needs to be delivered? Yeah.
Well, man, listen, we started off talking about the Eagles and the 49ers, and we dove into a whole nother pool over here. But it's all good because it's great content. It's great conversation, and there's young people out there that need to hear this stuff. There's even guys in the league that need to hear this. Because, it's one thing to make some money and get paid. It's another thing to be great while you do it. And there's a lot of average football players making a lot of money today in comparison to, when I played and really in comparison to when you played. And, they are bigger, stronger, and faster, but they're not as skilled and they're nowhere near as smart as we were when we played the game.
Correct.
But listen, man, it's always a pleasure to see you, my brother. I'm glad that all is well with you and the family. Best wishes, for 2026, and hit me with a text message. Let me know when your birthday is. I want to make sure I reach out to you for your big 7-0.
All right. And the wife told me to tell your missus she said hello.
I will do that. I'll pass it along. Thank you, my friend.
All right. Be well, Seth.
All right. Take care. All right, y'all. That's the show for tonight. Man, that was good. That was even good for me to just kind of break football bread with my brother and, not only talk about the 49ers and the upcoming game, but to also talk about just the state of football and, what we feel and what we think about the game. That was good conversation, not only for you guys, but for me too. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys on Sunday. I think kickoff is at 4:30, so we will be on from 3 to 4 o'clock. Our pregame show, myself, D. Gunn, and Mark Farzetta. Make sure you tune in. And listen, win, lose, or draw, I'll be back here next week. Hopefully we're back here talking about the divisional round. But for some odd reason enough or another, if that's not the case, we'll be doing an Eagles wrap-up, podcast next week as we talk about, what went wrong, what went right, and what the offseason is going to look like for this football team moving forward. All right? As usual, you guys take care of each other and be good to each other. But most important, make sure you love each other. I'll see you guys right here next week, same place, same time. Peace.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
At Mid-Penn Bank, we believe in the power of community. We're not just another bank, we're your bank. we're also your neighbor. For over 150 years, we've been helping dreams come true, financing projects that make a difference locally. From small businesses to community centers, we're here to support what matters most to you, donating time and resources to strengthen the Philadelphia region. And when Philly's favorite superstars need a bank they can trust, they turn to Mid-Penn Bank, just like you can. Mid-Penn Bank. Stronger communities, stronger futures. Let's build something great together.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges, from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.